podcast is a member of WildGamesProductions.com and D20Radio.com.
First there was the original.
I thought it might be nice for kids. Keep them off the street, you know.
Then the basic.
This is a simple game.
Then the first version of the advanced.
Good, clean, wholesome fun.
Now the hammer comes down. Welcome to THACO's Hammer, the best damn second edition AD&D podcast ever.
We're back. Hey, you can't keep us away. It's THACO's Hammer, all 2E, all the time. This is DM Glenn with, of course, DM Corey.
Hello, everyone.
You sound like you're far away.
Oh, do I? I'm sorry.
Oh.
Want me to be a little louder there?
No, you're fine. You're fine. And DM Brian.
Greetings.
Oh, the cultured one in this program.
Somebody has to be.
That's true. And as you can hear, our special guest, DM Julie.
Hi.
She's going to talk about various and sundry things.
Or sundry and various. I'm not sure yet.
Something.
Oh, nice.
Well, let's dispense with formalities and go into hits and crits.
What do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Oh, we ought to do something. It's Saturday night. I don't want to go bowling like last Saturday. Oh, what do you feel like doing tonight?
I don't know, Ange. What do you feel like doing?
Hits and crits.
Hits and crits. Corey, what'd you do this week, RPG-wise?
Well, I started this new RPG. It's called Jersey Shore. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Actually, I've taken my gaming addiction a little digital for the last 2 weeks. I've been reinstalled and playing Baldur's Gate and Baldur's Gate 2 and Icewind Dale. And also, I've reinstalled a game that I have become supremely addicted to, due mainly to my megalomania and my egomania, which is Dungeon Keeper. You essentially play the DM and the main bad guy, and you build a dungeon full of goblins and
I
what have
remember
you.
that one.
I love this game. It's so fun. But yeah, that and work. Other than that, my 2 D&D games are on hold until I can get a regular schedule with my new job.
Cool. Aren't you the one that's addicted to Minecraft?
No, absolutely not, and I will deny that until people stop asking.
That's what Crispy told me.
Yes. I've picked up a general interest in the game Minecraft as well, merely as a review. You know, I'm doing it as a scientific experiment.
An intensified interest.
Yeah.
Never inhaled either.
Yeah.
Brian, what you been up to this week?
Still working on my own game and trying to figure out. Oh goodness! Now I've forgotten the name of the whiteboard program I've been messing with for the last week or so, trying to get it to work right. But it's kind of hard because most of the whiteboard programs are they're settled more toward 3rd edition and having to how should I say what's the word trying to jury rig it for 2nd edition is a little bit difficult, to say the least.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I'm
Upgrade,
still doing
you mean, right? Upgrade?
Downgrade is probably the best way.
Sideways.
Yeah. Upside down, sure.
Side grade.
Side grade.
Side grade. Hey, that's a new
That
word.
involves no shoulder.
Somebody better copyright that.
Uh-oh. Absolutely. There, I said the first one.
Oh, you did it.
I did. Julie, what's going on in the audio world?
Oh, well, I've been getting ready to put out my April Fool's episode for 19 Nocturne Boulevard, which I probably should mention at this point, since we don't know if you have all the same listeners.
You should.
As the other show. I produce and, write, etc., 19 Nocturne Boulevard, which is a series of audio dramas. I have done a couple that are set in a fantasy world, and I have actually plans to do a series, which will be very much a classic dungeon crawl, and that will be coming out sometime in the fall. For now, though, I'm just getting ready to put out my April Fool's episode, which is so wrong, and to get onto Script Frenzy, which is the writing month. It's like the NaNoWriMo for script people.
Nice.
And I'm going to write a bunch of my Myriad scripts for that. The Trial of Myriad will be my dungeon crawl series.
And we at THACO's Hammer support 19 Nocturne Boulevard.
Yes, we do.
And I, for one, welcome our new overlord.
Our new audio overlords.
Indeed.
You just don't get to talk to girls, that's all. I know.
Yes.
It's a gamer thing.
You could take over real easy around here.
I'm too busy.
Okay. I'm too busy to be an overlord. Okay.
I delegate.
That's true. Me, I've just been buying stuff, putting around the house. My show ended. My stage show ended finally. So I'm free and clear for gaming and stuff. Finally. It's been 6 months.
It's like the 14th one in a row.
No, it's only third, but that's like 6 months out of my life right there.
Yeah.
I managed to get a few splat books, and
What'd you get?
Well, the big thing was I went to Half Price and found a almost pristine copy of first edition, first printing Deities and Demigods with the Lovecraft and Elric mythos in there for $5.95.
$5.95 for a first printing.
Yes.
The first edition Deities and Demigods.
Because they're going, now are you sure it's the first printing? Because they had a second printing with this stuff in there where they thank Chaosium, and I looked the acknowledge. Nope, didn't thank Chaosium. This is a first printing.
Very nice, very nice. You win the deal of the week.
I do.
Yeah.
The operative word here is score.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's only this is the second time I've owned that book too. 15 years ago, I sold it at Origins to Luzachi. Like 40
Really?
bucks. Yeah.
And the question is, will you be selling this one at the
created the dice?
Yeah.
Really?
His booth, they had, they also had used gaming stuff he'd sell too.
Mm-hmm.
I said, how much you want for this? I don't know. What do you want? $40. Okay, fine. Give it to me.
And you've been kicking yourself ever since.
So the question is, Glenn,
because if you haven't been kicking yourself ever since, you're due for some kicking. We volunteer.
Question is, Glenn, now with the North Texas RPG Con that you're going to be going to soon, will you be selling this book again?
No, but I am going to get it autographed.
Very nice.
Paul Jacques and Errol Otis are going to be there. Two of the 6 artists, yes.
You realize, of course, yes. If you get that autographed, you could turn that around on eBay for at least $200 easy.
Brian, I say this in the most loving way possible. Shut up.
Well, I'm just saying.
I know what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
It's been a long dry spell, okay?
I'm not saying you should do it. I'm just saying you could.
Ladies and gentlemen listening to the podcast, we now know who the thief in the party is.
I play a really good thief. Trust me on that.
Okay. Before we get away from this segment, I made everybody solemnly promise we will read the emails this week because
that's right.
Shows forgot to read the emails. So, Brian, what do we got?
Okay, we have an email from, which is kind of funny. DM Brian, otherwise known as Iron Beaver. Wow, that's.
I don't want to know.
Well, he's male, so it kind of.
He's not related to the Whispering Guys.
Julie, I'm gonna have to say I do want to know. Continue reading.
Okay, you have access to the email. You can respond to it. I'm just going to just let that roll off my back and just keep continue.
Just like an Iron Beaver.
Oh man. Okay.
What's he got to say, Brian?
I know.
Is this one of those names that people take because they lost a bet and they need to be tortured?
It does make you wonder, doesn't it?
Yes.
Oh, but anyway,
so what does Iron Beaver have to say?
Okay, it's all positive. It's all good. Basically, he says, Hey guys, the show is great so far. Thanks to episode 5, I'm adding a Death Knight as my BBEG in my current campaign.
Right.
Yeah, well, then our work there is done because we did a really good job playing up the Death Knight, did we not?
We at THACO's Hammer support the Death Knight as a BBEG.
Mm-hmm.
For those of you listening who don't know what a BBEG is, it's the big bad evil guy at the end of a campaign, adventure, or short game. Go ahead.
Indeed. He said that I'm making him an ancient Bronze Aegis warrior that has been imprisoned under a monolith for centuries. Blade Trinity, anyone? The character will be instrumental in his release. Oh, that's always a good little plot twist. The characters unwittingly, in their greed, unleash a great evil, and now, of course, they have to go and just, vanquish it.
Okay, excuse me, Ms. Halverson, will you let the rest of the class in on your joke?
Have you ever seen the movie Demonicus?
No.
No.
Tell us about
it. It involves an ancient mummified gladiator under the Italian Alps. It's really, really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it's just when you said Bronze Age, that was what popped into my head was Demonicus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, Go ahead.
It's a full moon movie, and it's kind of bad for a full moon movie, so that does say something.
Wow.
What else? Go ahead.
It's totally mockable. That's what makes it fun, though.
Cool.
Yes, but we're not mocking our friend Iron Beaver. Oh God!
Oh no!
Yeah, no, not
so
at all.
Sorry,
not at all.
Iron Beaver. I didn't mean to. It's just that there you might get some inspiration for what not to do from that film.
Mm-hmm.
I've already got inspiration from his handle, so okay.
Okay.
Anyway, what else does he say?
He continues. He says, back in the day, I was a BECME/1E player, but since I got back into D&D in the last 5 years, I've gone with 2nd edition, mostly due to my group's influence. I've been picking up books here and there, and I'm just awed about how many things were printed. Oh, that we can go on that little tangent about that. But it continues. I recently acquired some books via Craigslist for $20, and the difference in utility was a bit of a shock. I would like to hear reviews about some of the worst stinkers as well as good stuff so I can be a little more cautious when making purchases, although Toronto seems to be picked pretty clean when it comes to used stuff. Yeah, I'll bet it is. Keep up the good work, DM Brian/Iron Beaver.
That might take a little work digging up some stinkers. Oh, by the way, thank you, Iron Beaver, for that email.
I would say Demonicus, but of course it's not a D&D product.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think it wouldn't be a problem picking up any stinkers because, depending on, like, for example, me personally, just so everybody knows, I do not like Spelljammer. Mm-hmm. I don't like the world, the realm, whatever you want to call it. To me, anything out of there would be a stinker. Some people love Spelljammer and think Forgotten Realms is a stinker. Mm-hmm. So I guess what we're going to have to do then is for Iron Beaver there and some of the other listeners is maybe let's look at some of the cons instead of just the pros at some of the upcoming publications that we're looking at.
Might be a good idea.
Good call, Iron Beaver.
Yeah, but then I think of those. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Julie.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, but also keep in mind, there's a difference between something that you simply don't like and something that is actually crap.
No, that's true.
I mean, most of us can tell the difference. Most of us can say, okay, this is a terrible world, but there's some good ideas in this scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you can wrench one good idea out of a module, I think that makes it worth it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, yeah, and when it comes down to it, it's all subjective anyway. It's the classic case of one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I agree with Julie. What she's saying is there's a difference between I don't like this versus this is so poorly written, Gygax should have used it as TP.
Well, of course I do. For some reason, the words Doom 2 come into my head.
Wow. There's a blast from the past.
Yeah.
If you guys can refer to video games, I don't feel uncomfortable referring to movies.
That's fine.
There we go.
Hey, we all draw references from various places. It's all good.
What, you mean like Children of Dune?
God. What else we got, Brian?
Okay, we have one from someone called Logic Monkey. Wow.
I like that one even better than Iron Beaver.
Yeah, I'm telling you, these names are just like, wow. Okay. He says, hey guys, been listening to the new podcast and thought you might be able to help with a question our group had recently. We've been using Skills and Powers books, okay, which I'm still somewhat new to. Oh boy. if you're still new to it and you don't, okay. First aside, if you are new to it, I wouldn't use everything right off the bat because your game is going to spiral out of control faster than you can say, oh, combat tactics. But anyway,
You think?
I digress. Yeah, I digress. One of the other players has tweaked his reason sub ability, part of the intelligence and skills and powers books, to 21 or 22. This is allowable in our game, and is not in question. Okay. However, this results in his characters having immunity to illusions that a 1 or 22 intelligence allows. My question comes from the player's handbook description of these immunities and how to interpret it. And he goes on to quote, spell immunity is gained by those with exceptionally high intelligence scores. Those with immunity notice some inconsistency or inexactness in the illusion or phantasm, automatically allowing them to make their saving throws. All benefits are cumulative. Thus, a character with a 20 intelligence is not fooled by first or second level illusion spells. Sorry. How do you interpret automatically allowing them to make their saving throws? They automatically get to roll a saving throw when countering illusion without having to think it might be an illusion and stating disbelief first. Automatically roll a saving throw, excuse me, when encountering a low-level illusion. They automatically succeed at any attempt to disbelieve a low-level illusion, but first must have reason to doubt it and attempt to disbelieve. Or they are completely immune to low-level illusions and see through them right away without needing to roll a saving throw. And any insight on this matter is appreciated.
Well, my first gut reaction is to say there always should be the attempt in there, at least for the role-playing standpoint. But then again, you've got these monsters like high-level liches and vampires can like look through, say, a 5th level mage's illusion like that and not even blink. So I really don't know how I would handle that. I mean, I want them to role-play. That's what I'm saying. But if I do it, sometimes I feel that they should be able to do it too.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I think, yeah, just from the fact that, a character with such a high score in intelligence, I think that he'd have to say, this isn't right, this isn't real, I disbelieve it. It's
exactly.
I think it should never be just automatic.
The downside of that, though, is then you get people who just wander around saying, I disbelieve, and never take the time to even look at what they're disbelieving. They just automatically do it.
That's why I always want the role-playing to come first. You see this illusion, I disbelieve. Okay, how are you disbelieving?
Yeah.
And if he gives me any kind of halfway decent excuse, I'll probably, okay, fine.
I think so. I mean, but you know what? That's a sign of player paranoia when they start running around doing that.
Yes.
Because God only knows in some of the games I played in back in the day that our DM was such an evil bastard about things, especially when it came to illusions in general, that our players would walk around disbelieving, say, just for argument's sake, a dog walking down the street or something like that. And I mean, it got to such ridiculous.
Oh, you're right, it's a cat.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. You're right.
I disbelieve it's a dog. You're right, it's a cat.
Well, I'd have to say, for my opinion, what I would do is read the description. If it is an illusion, and you're the DM, and you have a player with such a high reason, and you're using the skills and powers, which I will be quiet on my opinion of the books for now.
Until we get to them as a topic.
Yeah. What I would do is, if Logic Monkey, that ahead of time, did he say he was the DM of this, or is he just a player with another player in the group?
Let me look through the email I've got in front of me. I'd say, just by the way he's worded this question, I'd say he's probably the DM.
All right, if you're the DM, what you should do, Logic Monkey, if you're running a module or you're going to be running an illusion, write down on a piece of paper this whatever is not real. You see right through it for the illusion that it is, and underneath of it, write in capital letters, role play it out and underline it. Then every time you read the description to your party and you tell the whole party that they see a giant tap dancing plaid dragon that's itching its buttocks, you can hand that note over to the man with the 23 reason, and then it's up to your player to turn around and actually role play it out. And then you might come down to the point where you don't have to write role play it out on the note. Just write, this is a fake illusion. He should take the initiative to go, okay, because I have, speaking of my parties, I got guys that'll sit there and be like, oh my God, it's a giant dragon. Everybody fight it. And then he'll sneak around and go rob all the chests that it's guarding. He won't tell anybody else it's an illusion. That's it's up to the role play of the character how they're going to react to the illusion. So you should give him a chance by letting him know without looking in front of the party and going, okay, all your other characters don't know this, but you over there, Dave, it's an illusion. You can see right through it because you have 23. Notes aren't that bad when you're slipping them to players.
Well, that's good.
As long as you slip consistently. If you only do one note in a game, then everybody goes, well, what was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I would be like, don't worry about it. You keep asking after it. It's nothing you need to concern yourself about.
That's right.
He picked up a venereal disease from that Medusa 3 adventures back. I'm just telling him he had damage taken. No,
Now who's itching their butt?
Dude. I did not need that mental image. Sorry.
Now you've guessed the story of one of my upcoming episodes.
Oh, Lord.
Really?
But Corey's right. Lob it back into the player's court.
Mm-hmm.
And
put the onus of disproof on them. I guess the phrase would be
disbelief.
Yeah, disbelief. Yeah. It's basically Jerry Pournelle saying, Tana Staffel, there's no such thing as a free lunch. Don't give it to them automatically. If you give them clues because of their high intelligence in this regard, just enough to trip the player's trigger. Because I don't know about you, but I've never run into anybody who could properly play such a high intelligence, unless he was born with it. And I'm sorry, I've never run into somebody that smart.
It's funny with role play. Everybody can play.
But I don't know you yet, Julie.
Well, actually, if I might, what actually came to mind when this topic began is, of all things, I was just watching this last night with a friend. There's a British series of Sherlock for the BBC, the modern Sherlock.
Great.
And the way they portray him. The way they portray the way he sees things in that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, things are popping up on the screen so the audience can kind of follow along with his deductions, which is part of what makes it so entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to think of some way to incorporate something like that, because that's really what you're looking at here, seeing through the surface.
Yeah, it's a hyper analytical brain, and you're actually seeing the process as it's working. It's great.
Kind of reminds me of the beginning of that Sherlock Holmes movie with Robert Downey, where he's fighting the guy and he's totally analyzing the guy while he's fighting him.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. While the guy's basically, wasn't he in the beginning of the fight? Wasn't he basically kicking the crap out of him?
He started, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But then he started analyzing the way he was coming at him and stuff, and fainting and all this. Okay, we'll do this. Boom. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it's very much in keeping with that. And if you have that as an image, at least to work from the GM point of view, for what you can share with the player, that's actually a really great place to start. So maybe rather than saying, this is an illusion, say, it's funny, but you remember that there is something wrong. A plaid tap dancing dragon doesn't actually have buttocks. Why has it got buttocks?
Yeah, using the Forrest Gump pronunciation, of course. Precise. I mean, that's exactly right. I mean, that's what I would, as far as passing a note to a player, that's exactly what I would say. It's like, wait a minute, there's about what this is supposed to be. Something's not right here. And usually that's enough for the character or the player to kind of say, oh, wait a minute. And then all of a sudden, pow, And then
Yeah.
all he's got to do is say, okay, I don't believe this. This isn't real. This is an illusion. Then the fun part is actually getting the other players to recognize that. You know,
See, for me personally, if I was playing like a chaotic good wizard and I got that note from the DM that this is fake, and I'd be like, hey, Ronald the Barbarian, it's gonna eat us. Charge that big drag. I'd have fun with it, you know. I wouldn't be like, hey everybody, that's not real. Everybody calm down, you know.
Yeah, but if you leave some uncertainty, then they've got to deal with it from because just because you think it's not real doesn't mean you might want to charge it. Doesn't mean you're going to want to charge it right at it yourself because you're not 100% sure.
Right.
I just stuff like, hey, Ranger, go charm it.
Yep. Yeah, you know, have fun at the expense of the rest of your party members because you're so intelligent to realize that it's not real, you know. And with his high reasoning, Logic Monkey was saying that, you know, one of the guys has such a high that he automatically makes his save to disbelieve. That's what it does at that high of a reasoning. Then, you know, he should not have any doubts about whether or not it is fake or not. He should just be like, okay, it's fake. Now what do I do? That's my point as a player to role play it out.
Right.
So you just throw him a note, Logic Monkey, throw him a note and say, hey, this is fake. Role play it. You know, and see what he does with it.
That might even, you know, he probably, and some people, you know, they don't, you know, you throw a note that says role play it, they probably never even occurred to them they could do something other than say, hey, it's fake.
Yep, exactly. Exactly.
Oh, all the people I know would love to mess with people on those.
Yeah, it does lend itself to mess with the other players' minds for a little while.
That's true. Do we have any more emails?
Let's take a look in the magic mailbox.
But thanks, Logic Monkey. Thanks for writing in. Also, Iron Beat.
Yeah.
Yes. Keep the positive feedback coming. We're absolutely.
Or negative. Or negative. We don't mind growing.
Yeah.
Well,
magic mailbox. I love that. It's like, oh, we're Shining Time Station now. Okay.
Okay, I have one more from J.C. Smith. He says, "Great show, guys. Thank you very much."
Thank you.
And he says, "I love it so very much. Just one suggestion. In addition to the purple worm in your podcast, there are additional aspects to the 2E Renaissance going on." There's a Renaissance? I never thought it went away, but okay. If you guys could touch on or interview the folks at Myth and Magic, New Haven Games, a redo of 2E, and also a nice lad he must have spelled that wrong. In charge for Golden Glory, a retro clone of 2E, would be most appropriate and appreciated. Excelsior paper cut.
They don't have. I don't think those games are out yet, are they? Are they still?
For the folks listening, there is a rebirth of second edition interest going on, and there are a couple companies, namely the ones that paper cut. They're named New Haven Games and the other one that just slipped my mind. Sorry about that.
Glory one.
They're doing a second edition reboot, almost as Labyrinth Lord is a basic reboot or a first edition reboot.
And Osric and all that.
And Osric and all that. They are very interesting. I'm not sure how far along they are, but Papercut, if they're finished with it and it's up and available, we'll review it. And if we can, I'd be more than happy to interview the guy. On the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be
there
great.
It goes again. That's two. I'm gonna keep score.
Julie, you want to say absolutely? Everybody else does around here.
Nah.
Aw. Spoil sport. But anyway, so
I have to be different.
Not always, but yes.
On this show, that could mean you're intelligent. Anyway,
usually.
I guess some prime
modesty.
Outtakes
what?
Can throw it in there.
I used to be modest, then I realized it would never get me a job.
Yeah, that's true.
Good idea.
I can certainly attest to that.
And what else we got, Brian?
Okay, we've got one more from Jay Beck. He said, "I just wanted to thank you guys for your great new podcast for fans of second edition AD&D. I've learned some cool tips from you guys already. Thank you."
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm curious how you guys handle damage that take you below 0 in your games. I'm currently allowing my players to go unconscious at 0 hit points, and any damage that takes them into negative numbers will cause them to lay there and bleed 1 hit point around unless they are tended to by another player as a magical means. Once a player reaches a negative constitution score, he is dead. I would like to know how you guys handle damage and death. Okay, let's stop there because he has another point to make.
Okay. Negative con, the most generous one I've seen is your negative con. I'm sorry, negative hit points equal your negative con, you're dead.
Yeah, that's
another generous one is negative 10, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right. This is a topic that is in the player's handbook or the DM's guide. One of them, I think it's the player's handbook. It's At Death's Door is what it's called.
Right.
And it's a player's option that we want to talk about it's in the book. But we will touch on it for your email now. One of the other ones that I use currently is whatever hit dice you roll for your character, that's the negative you go to. So if you're a wizard, you go to -4 and then you're dead. If you're a fighter, you go to -10.
That's straight up brutal. It depends on.
Yeah, well, that's my world.
True.
But
so one negative point per hit die.
No. Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were
type.
No, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. If you're a thief, you roll a d6 for your hit dice. You can go to -6 before you're dead. If you're a wizard, you roll a 4d4 for your hit dice. You go to -4 and then you're dead. Whatever you roll, that's the number of negatives you get.
That's what I thought you were saying, but he was saying number of hit dice.
No, not number of hit dice.
I was going to say, if you're a 10 hit die fighter and it's like, okay, I roll 10 hit die when I hit 0. And that's my negative number.
No.
Funny.
No.
We're playing champions. They never die.
Yes, heroes never die. But
I've been laying in this dungeon. I'm a 15th level paladin. I've been laying in this dungeon for 3.5 weeks at -59 hit points, and no one's picked me up yet. I'm just waiting.
Somebody heal me, please. But as far as I go, I've always used -10. Even back when I was playing first edition, it made the most sense because not only did that give the party a chance to save their compatriots or at least bind their wounds and keep them from bleeding to death, but it was also something when I played the gold box games, the old AD&D games that were on 386 and 486 computers way back in the day.
You mean my 5 1/4 floppies?
Yes, which I do have, by the way.
Yeah.
But I was going to say that was one of the things in that game that kind of made me say, you know what, I'm adapting this to my game because they gave you a -10, when you were in up to your eyeballs in, dragons and whatever, and a character goes down and then you have X amount of time to save him. Otherwise, you have to bust out the raise dead spells.
Well, it's still prevalent in the modern games too, as well, because we don't edition bash here on THACO's Hammer. The Temple of Elemental Evil 3rd edition game that came out from Troika, the Troika video game, that takes you down to -10 as well.
That's true.
So yeah,
I would
often.
Yeah.
Yes, often.
I would like to see somebody or even me take it to like you're 0, you're dead, or you're -1 or 2, you're dead. But at the same time, I would like to take a book out of basic and make resurrection a lot cheaper.
Oh yes, that was.
I see. So it's more brutal but easier to come back. Nice.
That's right. And remember, you only got so many Constitution points too.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, you can only be raised or resurrected so many times.
That's right.
That was something I saw in Dragon's Foot a couple of months ago, is that how, people were thinking because Raise Dead and Resurrection are 5th and 7th level clerical spells respectively, they were talking about, lowering them like 1 or 2 spell levels to make them more accessible. And I thought about it, then I said, you know what? No, I'm going to keep them right where they're at. I mean, not only that, if you lower them to the point where, say, let's say Raise Dead's like a 4th level clerical spell and Resurrection's like a 5th, that puts that ability to have the characters laugh in the face of danger, saying, well, as long as our cleric's alive, we're alive.
Yep.
And not only that, it takes...
Oh, and what group doesn't do that?
Yeah, laugh in the face of danger. Or should I say danger in the face of laughter? Sorry.
Like that.
Yeah.
I call it the Fools Rush In syndrome.
Exactly. But my whole thing is that also takes a plot hook away from the DM.
Yeah.
Because if the characters want their compatriot raised that badly, they're going to pay, not only in money, but also in services. And that always has been, or at least in the ways I've played over the years, that's always been like the ultimate barter. High Priest comes up to say, okay, you want your friend raised? Okay, I have this issue that needs to be taken care of, and I don't have the resources to do it. Guess who's going to take care of this for me now?
It's a plot hook on the hoof.
Yeah, pretty much.
Absolutely. Oh, damn it.
Well, let's go. He had a second point on his email, did he not?
He did.
Yes, he did.
I think we touched on the negative hit points enough for that email.
Right. Okay, I'll make this quick. I would like to also make a humble suggestion. I tend to design most of the magic items for my campaign and would love it if you guys had a section of the show where you talk about yours and listener-created magic items. Well, we could probably put that in Magic Fingers, right?
Yeah. That's what it's for.
Okay. This would be a great addition to the show and would help me come up with some new ideas. I can start off with an item I created for my own campaign. The Vampire Lord's Ring. This ring is a golden ring with 2 small ivory fangs placed into it. It acts as a ring of vampiric regeneration. The ring also has other powers. Twice a day, the wearer can go to gaseous form as the spell at 6th level of ability. Once a week, a player may summon a dire wolf to fight for him or act as a mount if the user is small enough. This ability lasts until the wolf dies or the 10 turns have elapsed. Lastly, any minor or low intelligence undead must make a saving throw versus spell at -4 to attack the wearer as long as he's only performing non-aggressive actions. Wow. Any undead higher than low intelligence is immune to this effect. Okay, the downsides of the ring. The ring uses the wearer's own life force to power itself and will weaken the wearer by -2 strength. An option I've used in the past reduces strength to 15. The strength loss cannot be overcome by any method, magical or otherwise. The wearer will also have a pale gray ashen look to their skin and when eating will prefer meat at its rawest or crave blood. Tough to explain that one at times. Anyway, make a great podcast, guys. AKA DM James.
Nice ring, but did you conclude a downside that would actually discourage the players? I don't get that eat raw meat. Look what I get to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, that comes back to the role-playing aspect because you know what? I don't think that he would be in any pretty much civilized area. He starts going around eating plates full of raw meat. He's going to start attracting a lot of serious attention.
Yeah.
From witch hunters.
Yeah. Well,
that's
first of all, I have to say thanks, DM James, for the great plug for your magic item. Sounds interesting.
It does sound interesting.
I will say that. Sorry, Glenn, go ahead.
No, I was just playing as devil's advocate. That's all.
I understand. I wanted to let you know and everyone else listening that there is a large entry called the Workshop on Dragon's Foot that lists. There's pages upon pages of threads of magic items that people have created, and they were actually working on doing a magic encyclopedia, I believe, from Dragon's Foot of just player created magic items. More to your email question, yes, Magic Fingers is where we put the magical items. Lately we've been doing spells simply because everybody knows there's a Rod of Resurrection and a Rod of Smiting and a
Wand of Wonder,
the Dragon's Bane. Yeah, everybody knows those magic items. What we were trying to get out is a lot of the spells that weren't there, but we do have it in the works to put the magical items in with the magic fingers as well, just so people can get a taste.
And this current show, but I mean, we talked about ranger magic items.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And every time we do talk about one of the complete books, if they have a section of the magic items, we'll touch on them as well. Mm-hmm. But if anybody listening does have a magic item they want to check it out and want us to read about, send us an email.
Yeah, we can always use those.
That's right.
At thacoshammer@gmail.com.
It might not be read as an email, but we might hold it off and throw it into the magic finger section. And hey, your creation might be a segment on our show. You never know.
Ooh, we also got a number, 405-806-0555, if you want to let us record something to play on the show.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Why don't we go into people skills?
Time for people skills.
The face is familiar.
It's mine.
And so it is.
Oh, yes, of course. It stands out a mile, doesn't it? He's so common.
A little lady comes in here and starts throwing her butt around. What is that supposed to do?
All right, forget I said anything.
Maybe I will.
Well, that's pretty good.
Don't tell me you weren't looking at it.
Well, that's not half bad.
She's giving it right back to you.
People skills.
Okay, people skills, the Blade Kit, which is in the Bard's Handbook.
Yes, it is.
Page number?
Page number 18.
18.
Of my oft-used cracking Bard's Handbook.
It's the one you just opened for the first time tonight.
For those listening, when we were prepping for the show, I grabbed my Bard's Handbook and cracked it, and I actually heard the pages crack because I have never, ever, ever opened this book.
Wow.
And it's pristine, and I was just like, oh my god, it's cracking. So yeah, this tells you how often bards are used for me as NPCs in my world. But the blade kit on page 18, it's there.
Yep. And I'll take that one. Yeah, it's there. Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Basically, this kit is, probably to me one of the more fun kits to play because, they're masters, self-professed masters of weapons, and
we talked about this in the earlier show, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Inigo Montoya in D&D.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And basically, the Blade gets a lot of reputation by word of mouth. I mean, they can serve as quote unquote assassins, and probably the way that they gain their weapons and the way that they use them in combat and combine with some of their spells probably would make them pretty good assassins. Let's see. As it goes, at least half the Blade's weapon proficiencies must be selected from the following: sword, dagger, knife. That means, at least in the creation aspect, those weapons must be taken. They get good bonus proficiencies such as blind fighting, juggling, reading, writing, and local history, and so forth. But they also have the ability to put on weapons displays, which can affect opponents' morale just by them doing it. And there are different ways they can use that weapons display also. Excuse me.
Carry on.
Also, he has the ability called a trick throw, which he can basically perform called shots, and of course, called shots are at a -4 penalty to your attack, but for every 5 experience levels that the Blade gains, that penalty goes down by 1. So, the higher in level the Blade gets, the better he is at performing trick throws, such as, the knife throw, with the woman on the platform and she's tied to the platform and spinning, and, the Blade basically throws his knives at empty spaces and doesn't hit her, or at least he hopes not to.
And to get his pluses, he must have a fellow bard with him playing in the background.
That would probably give him a bonus.
Because he also spins plates and stuff,
Yeah, I was reading here that they say here that...
What did you say, Julie?
It's morale. That's what bards are good at.
Yeah. Go ahead, Corey.
And I was reading here, it says that the knife throwers who pop balloons while blindfolded and swallow slender sabers such as those used by lawless pirates on the high seas. But the way that the more I read this, it sounded like one character came to mind when I was reading this, except for the whole performance aspect.
Mm-hmm.
It's Artemis Entreri from Forgotten Realms, Drizzt Do'Urden's nemesis, one of my favorite characters from Forgotten Realms. This is a really, really great class kit, but to me, this would make an even better nemesis for a player character as a DM's NPC.
Oh yeah.
You could have, one of the players be a normal character and have this guy possibly be upstaged by the heroics of the player, and this guy could be very upset that he's not getting the coin that he is because this guy's in town. And this is a really nifty. I mean, it's a great class to play in its own, but I mean, just the ideas that roll off.
He doesn't have to be a bad guy either, just a rival, like a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rival or something.
Yeah, that's one for you.
Giacomo's in town. I better get on the next town. Yeah, okay.
That's Pirelli's Miracle Elixir.
Sir, yes.
But yeah, I have one of the NPCs I've played was a blade, or she still is really, and basically she goes from town to town with her shape-changing tiger boyfriend, and they start, they basically do these well, I'll get into that at some other point. But yeah, my NPCs have all kinds of interesting relationships. But anyway, they basically go from town to town, and not only do they perform for local masses, for, a gold here or a silver there to kind of keep themselves, fed and, with clothed and sheltered, but they also look out for,
except when he's a tiger.
No, his name's not Tony.
He doesn't need to be clothed.
Oh,
Saves a cost.
Wow.
I like tigers. They're great. Anyway,
don't they usually wear orange coats? Anyways, sorry.
Wow.
That one comes free with the.
Okay.
Sorry, Brian.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just gonna let you guys go. But they basically just go from town to town and perform. But not only do they do that, but they also are on the lookout for the more oppressive / evil people like merchants and things like that, and they also look out for slavers and stuff. But the character in question, she's quite the egotist, and she's always trying to pull off the most flashy, the most dangerous, maneuver in combat that she can. I have like examples, but they're slipping my mind right now. I've been up since like midnight last night, but but basically that's kind of what the blade is, the ultimate performer, but also they have that dark side to where they're the ones who will act on their own in ways that others can't.
Right.
I hate to use the word assassin because they're not exactly that, even though they could be, but that could be one of the roles they play. So,
yeah, that's what it reminded me of, the Artemis Entreri.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the only thing that when I was reading this is it reminded me of the Indiana Jones, where the big guy steps out, spinning the blade, and then all of a sudden he just shoots him in the face. Yeah, I'm like, oh, there goes a blade in a kit.
I don't know. I could think of the Blue Raja for some reason.
Oh, with his forks.
Yes, forks and spoons.
I'm not knifey boy. I'm not slash man.
Yeah, Blade sounds like something Julie would probably play if she was playing second.
What came to mind for me, of all things, is something else entirely, simply because I've watched The Seven Samurai far too many times, and there's a character.
You'll never watch that movie too many times.
No.
Never.
And of course, I can't remember the names of more than half of them, but my favorite character is the perfectionist swordsman.
Mm-hmm.
The one who just walks into camp at one point and goes, killed 3, and then sits down and goes to sleep.
Like it's no big deal to him. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's a different side of it because it's the non-flashy side, but it's the perfectionist is to him.
Right. Right. That could be another way to take a blade. Yeah, that could be another way to do it. Is just someone who is so just dedicated to his art with those weapons that, he sort of starts basically maximizing his potential, but just in a role-playing aspect, that'd be an interesting way to play him.
So he's kind of a jack of all blades.
And master of none.
Yes, exactly. I mean, he doesn't get the pluses like a regular bard or fighter.
Mm-hmm.
This is true.
Yeah.
But the thing is that they try to convince you that he is this ultimate warrior, so to speak, when he's got on all truth, he's got below average combat ability.
I'd love to play a blade who takes all that and then starts building up with slots one type of blade, just one, say the rapier. Or something, and then you're doing all the, oh, you're not hurting me. Oh yeah,
It is nicely misleading to be very flashy and everybody think that that's all you've got.
Yeah. And then you pull that out of your sleeve.
Even better would have the bard like this, but actually have him following around another player character. You talk to your buddy when you're making your characters, you make a blade, and you have him holding, like, quote unquote, this giant hulking halberd. And, like, you look like the page to the paladin that you're following around until combat starts. And then you just start, like, twirling this thing like a baton, like you're a cheerleader and, wading through people.
No, give him a double.
Pole arms are sadly I mean, people don't understand how strong pole arms are in a fight.
Yes.
They really don't. We tend to take for granted that something like a sword is going to be cooler because that's a knight weapon rather than a foot soldier weapon.
Right.
And sorry, I've fought with a pole arm, and I mean in LARPing in real life, and it intimidates the crap out of anybody you're facing down.
Oh, you should have. Well, we did a show on pole arms, didn't we, Glenn?
Yes, we did.
Well, we should have brought her in. She has a really good perspective.
Yeah,
I was upset I missed that portion.
Oh,
well,
darn.
Yeah.
I'm not editing you in, Corey.
I was waiting for him to ask.
Yeah.
Just have him say absolutely every little once in a while.
That'll be. Well, we're gonna have to get a recording of everyone saying absolutely, and when you miss a show, we'll just put you into wherever.
I'll have a soundboard on the computer here. Press a button. Absolutely.
You'll all end up sounding like Ed McMahon.
Yeah.
You are right.
Ho 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 ho.
Yeah. You are correct, sir. Yeah, blade. That'd be fun, especially if you had like a double-bladed lightsaber.
Anybody out there ever use a blade or had an inkling or an idea on how to use a blade? Give us a call or write us in.
THACOshammer@gmail.com or
405-806-0555.
Or the Dragon's Foot 2nd Edition Forum or purpleworm.org. You thought we'd forget about those guys this time, didn't you? Let's move on. What is our next category?
Oh, let's do some Rule 0.
Gotcha.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0.
Rule 0. Okay, this is the third part of our little mini series on conventions. We talked about how to plan games as a DM and a player. We talked about how to pack and get the room and all this stuff. This time we're going to talk about eating and drinking at a con. And boy, does Corey know about the drinking.
Oh, yes. Yeah, it's it can get dangerous out there, boys and girls. Just be wary when you're drinking and eating, well, specifically alcoholic beverages at a con.
Okay. Well, I want to talk about this because that is a significant portion of your finances that you have to think about while you're on the road like that. and how you can, I don't know,
I'm
tips.
assuming you made food in general and not just alcohol.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, we can go into alcohol for Corey's sake, but
Great, I'm the resident drunk on the show.
Something about relieving himself off a fifth-story balcony. Or something.
We'll get into the story after we talk about.
Okay.
I'll tell the story afterward.
Hey, you want to see my create water spell?
Oh, Julie.
Okay.
The more I hear, the more I like about you. You're a wonderful person.
Well, thank you.
She's going to be the D&D podcast pinup girl.
Okay.
Anyway, you got to eat while you're there. Believe it or not, you got to eat. You cannot be welded to the table for 3-4 days.
And what are you going to do at night after all the other players go home and you need something to do besides sleep? You got to eat.
Yeah. Or drink, yes.
Or drink.
Or both.
Yes.
And you can't keep like hitting the buffet at lunchtime or Denny's in the evening. Some people like to pack it in before they go.
Mm-hmm.
That's
get that ice box, fill it up.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us like to graze all day.
That's right. I've done it. If there's a sandwich shop near where you are, like we usually, when I did in California, we had THACOs. Mm-hmm. Go in there and get like some of those like really long sandwiches, like 2 of them, have them cut them up into say 5 or 10 pieces. Take them home, bag them, stick them in the ice box. Stick your drinks in the ice box, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a big ice box, you can get one of those little lunch ice boxes to take with you too. You can pack a few in there. You can sit right there at the table and eat and drink while you're playing.
Or
keep in mind though, there is a certain amount of etiquette to playing and eating at the table. Some people really don't like it.
I'm a DM.
Go ahead, Corey. I'm sorry. I just have something to say on that point. Go ahead.
I'm in the camp, and one giant, rude, slovenly guy is spread out over half the table and knocking minis over with his McDonald's French fries, and he's getting grease over everything. Yeah, you have to have a little etiquette when you're.
Now, damn it! I've never been at your table. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Personally, from my experience, when I go to a con. I will pack food, and most of the cons we go to, we make sure that they have the mini fridge in the rooms. And if they don't, we bring a big ice box, an ice chest with us. But what we do is we'll pack that full of food and whatnot for the evenings. But when I go down to the tables to game and I'm sitting there for 4 hours at a clip, sorry, I got 2 words for all gamers: beef jerky. Put a bag in your backpack or bag of carrots or bag of celery or whatever, stuff that you don't need to take up table room to eat, a small bag here and there. And it'll last you, for the 4 hours. And then, you have about 10, 20 minutes before the next segment starts for your games. You can either run up to the room and refill, or if you have leftovers, just keep eating whatever you have on you.
Right. Mm-hmm. I mean, those 2 or 3 sandwiches I got from THACOs, they'd last all weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I lean toward protein bars myself because then you don't have to worry about refrigerating anything.
That's true. And guys, it's okay to go out and eat once in a while you're there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay to leave the table and actually go someplace and sit down and eat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Brian. No, I was going to say, it's okay to leave the building the con is at and go up the street, and go and sit down in an actual restaurant and, actually have a decent meal to supplement, the junk food and the other things that you might be intaking, and just to get yourself out of that element, to kind of give yourself not only the physical recharge by eating a little bit better quality food, but also the mental recharge.
Mm-hmm.
On most shows, the 70s style lecture doesn't come until the end of the show. Remember, don't play with magic.
And knowing is half the battle.
Yes.
G.I. Joe. All right. But yeah, I remember going up to Mepicon, the most recent convention I've been up to this last winter. We left after the 8 o'clock segment, and we went up to the Chinese restaurant that had a buffet, and it's funny, you walk in there with a couple friends of yours, and there's other gamers in there because they've got the same idea.
Oh, heck yeah.
Oh, you'll three.
It's not like you're in a LARP costume. Well, maybe some of you might be into LARP costumes, and you might leave the hotel and look a little weird walking into Damon's or whatever restaurants in the area, and you're dressed up like a, I don't know, dark elf female slaver, but and
well, if they have more cons.
Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to get out of the hotel and stretch your legs. Even if like you're like myself, who like to walk across the street from the Mepicon Hotel and have myself some nice Krispy Kreme donuts at 9:00 in the morning.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
If I may digress for a minute about wandering around in costume, this is something not necessarily gaming related, but convention related.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was at a horror convention dressed as a Cenobite from the Hellraiser movies.
Nice.
With needles through my lips and all the whole 9 yards. It's my own design. And there were only 3 of us in the costume contest, so we decided not to bother staying because we knew we won. So there was and at the hotel that this convention was at, across the courtyard was a wedding reception.
Oh boy.
And we're like, we're just going to look. We're just going to peek our heads in. Because it's me, a guy in full Jason regalia, and some guy in like a skull hat and a kilt. Skull face and a kilt. Oh. And so we went over to the wedding reception. And we just peeked in, and they dragged us bodily in and forced us onto the dance floor.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, the brother, and they were handing drinks, they were everything, and it was so funny. I mean, the brother of the groom was, coming up to me going, "I'll give you $20 if you go dance with the groom." And everybody was posing for pictures, being menaced by Jason.
That's dealer room money, did you?
What would have been even better if they would have had you during the actual event there, and like you could have Jason as an usher. Please follow Jason to your seat.
Let's just put it this way. I think that if Jason was actually part of the ceremony, no one was going to speak out against the 2 people getting married. That's for damn sure.
He'd be the best man. Whoever holds your piece, he just turns around and looks.
And raises the machete.
Yeah.
Anybody want to say anything? I didn't think so.
I now pronounce you Mr. and Mrs. Voorhees.
Yeah. Anybody say anything against it? Boom! Anybody else want to say anything against it?
Well, you know what? That would actually be a better wedding than that dancing wedding that I saw.
That's true.
That one that was like all the rage for a while on the net.
No.
Yeah, back on topic.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
Let's on the topic of leaving the convention.
Well, I always thought if more gaming conventions were in Vegas, they could like walk down the street with no problem. Anyway, so.
Oh, please! The people on the street would give them a run for the money, costume-wise.
That's true.
Especially if like a furry convention was in town.
Oh, we won't go there. Okay, listen, we don't talk about editions of D&D, but yeah, I kind of draw a line at furries.
We might have to.
That at the door.
But anyway, food and drink. Come on, food and drink.
Okay.
I have let's get some tips here. I got one tip.
I will say I make a point of bringing my own sodas because sodas at hotels tend to be second only to ballparks and airports for expensiveness.
Yes.
Oh, you couldn't be more right about that.
The last DungeonCon I went to in San Ramon, California, we were fortunate enough to right around the corner was a Target.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that works.
If we need more soda, let's go over to Target and get a couple of 12 packs,
If anyone listening is planning on going to a convention and you're driving there and you have a smartphone or you're in a hotel with internet access, look up your local Walmart, Target, Best, or Kmart or whatever.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, so if you can stock up there if you forget to, or if like you're worried about weight limits over an airplane because you're going to like Dragon Con or Gen Con, find out where the stuff is around there. Hell, even take a taxi or ask the hotel manager or the person at the desk, hey, where's your local Walmart?
Right.
Can we get a ride to Walmart or whatever? Sometimes if they're not busy, they won't mind doing it for you.
There's little shuttles, yeah.
Yeah, you're staying there. What the hell, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. One of my favorite tricks is a lot of the cons. Only if they do this at the cons. Some of the cons they give they have water there, pitchers of water, ice water and stuff like that. They got the thing you can take it to the table and drink it. Well, I take a couple of canisters of like Kool-Aid, Country Time lemonade, and I'll get a plastic spoon and just dump it in my glass, and I've got drinks.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
you need
And
sugar to stay at the table, and they provide the water.
Yeah.
Right, and they do have those. They do have the actual, like I hate the like Crystal Light and things like that in the individual package. You can just throw that right into a glass and stir it up, and there it is. You don't even have to carry a canister around.
I've thrown the lemonade into the pitchers before and just shared.
Well, there you go.
Hey,
yeah, that's my nifty tips.
How about alcohol at a convention?
How about alcohol? Nothing about. You're the alcohol guru. You go ahead.
If you're planning on going up with a whole bunch of friends and like the 6 of you have decided to be cheap and share a room and 2 of you are in beds and the rest of you are on floors or in cots, and you want to bring alcohol, I would strongly suggest keeping the alcohol in the rooms.
Yes. Don't bring it out.
At personal experience, you can get drunk if you want and relax and have fun if you're into drinking. Some of you are, and some of us aren't. I personally have never gotten drunk at a convention. But if that's your thing and that's what you're into, keep it in the hotel. But when you're in a strange bed in a strange place and you're being waited on by
say thank you for the good evening and leave.
Well, yeah, but if you're in a room and you're being pampered by room service or whatever, sure, a nice rum and coke or vodka no J or straight shot of Goldschlager, whatever you're into, might
$15.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper than paying $8 for one shot down at the bar. If the usual liquor that you drink at home, the bottle alone is $16, and you just bought half a shot.
Yeah.
But that goes back to finding. I would say even to take it half a step further and try to find a package store that's relatively, I won't say far from the con, but far enough, because you can be rest assured that there are going to be at least 10 or 12 people or groups that have the same idea, and they're going to go to the local package store, party store, whatever you want to call it, and clean it out.
Oh, and this goes out to my fellow Californians, Southern Californians particularly. Liquor store, in most of the parts of the country, liquor store does not mean convenience store. No, 2 separate things. And the liquor store will close earlier.
Yes, they will.
Yeah, unless you're just into beer and wine, They close at like 9 o'clock here. So.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind, if you're stocking up. And like I said, take breaks to eat. Hit that buffet, man. Especially in the morning, it's like every morning. Where's Glenn? He's at the buffet. Okay. I love breakfast buffets.
Complimentary hotel buffets are great.
Yes.
But don't be surprised. And don't be surprised if you show up a little bit late and everything is gone. Because
a hotel full of gamers. Yes.
You think?
What were you saying, Julie?
Oh, from another viewpoint, though, I will say, don't drink and game with strangers.
Yes, no.
Really, really, really offend a GM if you show up to their game that they've prepared and you're not willing to pay attention, not capable of paying attention.
As a semi-pro drinker, I will support what she's saying. It's not a good thing to keep your drinking in the hotel room after the gaming.
Yeah. As I'm a GM, but I'm not a drinker, and I'm like, one of the reasons I gave up ever running games at sci-fi conventions anymore is that people will just they'll you show up, either they'll show up drunk or they'll just bail on your game and go get drunk. And I'm like, I just don't see the point of even prepping anything anymore for sci-fi conventions.
Now that you mention that, I was actually witness to that. It was one of the games I was playing in. It was a D&D game, and just I'm sitting next to these two guys, and they both kind of look at each other. One of them kind of raises his hand and mimes like he's taking a drink, and the other one nods, and they just get up from the table and they just take off.
Yeah, and it's difficult because you've had so many slots open, and they took up some of those slots, and now those slots are empty, and you could have had more players.
Yeah.
But also, it's just the drinking is an issue. Also, though, this is something that is more of a contemporary issue than when I was first gaming. Is if you know that blood sugar affects your mood, make sure you have food with you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because if you know
I'm
that
one
if
of
you
those
get
people.
when you don't eat,
Yeah, I'm one of those people. If I don't eat for a while, my blood sugar gets down below a certain level, I turn to the snarkiest, nastiest person on 2 feet.
Yeah.
Until I get some food.
So what you're saying is you don't eat before the podcast?
Hey, now.
I saw a guy who'd let his blood pressure. I mean, not his blood pressure, but he was a diabetic, and he would like damn near get comatose before he'd leave that table.
And
that's insane.
Yeah, exactly. Number one, it's not personally responsible. Number two, I hate to put it this way, but you're bumming a whole bunch of people out. Except for the pricks who want to make fun of you because you did something that's stupid. But
if you want to go into diabetic shock right in front of them, that's not cool.
Yeah,
well,
and then
it's not even full-on diabetes necessarily. It's the hypoglycemic drop. But it's the bitchiness, not the coma.
No, but I'm saying that there's some people who
coma, you shut up.
Basically you fold in on yourself, and it's sort of like your intelligence drops like 6 points. That's what it
people
is.
Just don't have it to spare.
Well, some people act drunk that way when they get down that far.
So you have been to a convention with me, Julie, because I don't have that to spare. But yes, drinking at the table is not a good suggestion, especially before you decide that you're gonna take a bottle of Coca-Cola and you're gonna drink some out of it and put some rum in there. Check with the convention rules, because a lot of the conventions do not allow it on the gaming
and
floor.
the hotel rules.
Yes, the hotel rules might not be. You cannot have open containers outside of the bar area.
Yeah. Much.
Because drinking is bad.
Oh, yes.
Which is why you do it, Corey.
Drinking.
All right. You want me to tell the story? Is that what you want? You want me to tell the story?
This is me holding my hands up in the air.
All right. I happen to be at a convention that I speak about a lot in the Middle Eastern Pennsylvania area. And I happen to be sharing a room with 4 or 5 guys. We all decided to go cheap and share the room.
Corey, 1 second. Has the statute of limitations run out on this one?
No, this was just...
So change the names to protect the innocent.
We're going to have to edit that.
We were on the 5th floor of the hotel, and it was in the evening, and everybody was done gaming for the evening. We just got back from dinner, and everybody decided to open up and drink because all of my friends are hard drinkers. I'm the least drinker out of all of them.
Wait, really?
No. Like I'm like an alcoholic sailor, but they're alcoholic sailors, and to me, and I'm like a preacher compared to them.
Okay, fair enough. Continue.
So I tied one on, and I tied it a little too tight. I got.
Oh, is that why you call it tight when you're drunk?
And so I told a friend of mine that I had to relieve myself, and we're on the 5th floor. So, in his brilliant alcoholic inebriation, says, "Do it out the window." My my judgment was flawed, so I said, "Sure, why not?" So, air conditioner in the hotel room, opened up the window and relieved myself out the front of the hotel on the 5th floor. One of my friends decided to walk up behind me and take the empty bottle of Captain Morgan's rum and tap me quite hard in the manberries, in which I puked also out the window. And so I've learned my lesson to drink at cons, especially with my friends. So
did you ever get the stuff out of the finish of the car?
I'm not my car down below. There were cars down there, and it wasn't mine.
Wow.
All right. Brian.
That's-
All right. Corey's confessions this
Yes. Once
Okay.
again,
No,
it's not just me, folks.
and
It's
once
not
again,
just
he
me.
tops all of us.
So far.
Yeah, so far.
We're only what 11 episodes in.
Yeah, something like that. And Julie probably had. Never mind. I don't want to know.
I don't drink.
I don't.
I never
no,
have.
Probably have a confession I don't want to know about. But you never drink?
No, I'm
No.
allergic.
Good.
Herd debacles come sober.
That's more impressive.
Yeah, it's not drunkenness. It's insanity.
Well, it's by choice.
Okay.
At least if I do something really stupid, I'm the one remembering it and pointing at people and laughing in the morning.
Okay. Conventions, food, and drink. Anybody have any last thoughts?
Just keep your options open. Don't be stupid. That's the best advice I can say as far as it. Not only just drinking, but also eating. Don't be stupid. Don't overdo it.
And also, don't rely on the convention, because if you go to sci-fi conventions, they've got hospitality, they've got some food there.
Oh, yeah.
Don't rely on the convention. Make sure you have something to eat. Don't rely on the kindness of strangers. Gamers aren't that kind.
No, they're not. No,
and most of them are as broke as you are. It's like if you don't budget, if you decide you're going to spend your last little simoleons on something in the dealer's room, and I cannot eat for 24 hours, don't.
Yeah, come on.
Let's put it this way. Just because you are able to get a mint copy of, let's say, Queen of the Demon Web Pits or something like that, something ridiculously expensive, and but you spent the last of your money that you budgeted towards food, and you just think you're going to bum off people. No, that's going to probably end very badly for you if you choose poorly.
For you and your friends.
Yes.
Yes. Hey, Corey, any last words?
Don't drink on the 5th floor.
Yeah, drink on the 10th floor.
And my last words are to reiterate from our last segment on this: try and get into the hotel where the convention is if you're drinking.
Yes.
You don't want to drink and drive and have to go to another hotel or get a taxi or walk away.
Yes.
Okay. And that covers that. We'll have more on the convention topic in later shows. Right now, we're going to be loaded for bear.
Loaded more?
Yeah.
Bet you don't have a pair of these, Earthling.
And for the big critters, sometimes you got to bring out the nuclear weaponry.
Loaded for bear.
Okay, the bear is loaded. Crossbows. We are talking about crossbows.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
In DM Corey's opinion, one of the least used and game-related oblivious weapons in campaign D&D.
Yeah. Yes, Julie.
Crossbows are fun.
Yes, in fact, they are. I'll agree with you.
They are.
Very much so. But the whole thing is that the reason why a lot of players didn't use crossbows is because up until recently they were weak. They had a little bit better range than a bow, but their damage was nowhere near what I thought it should be. I mean, when you are talking about this device, this device that's supposed to throw a bolt so far, but it's not so much the range, it's the power behind it.
Well, people have always gotten the impression that crossbows are like the poor man's bow. If you can't use a bow, use a crossbow. That kind of thing.
Oh no, crossbows have a lot of advantages. I mean, in functional real life, they do. Sorry, I've.
Well, that's all right.
No, it's okay. I mean, my whole thing is that they only started to come into their own when somebody when they're doing the player's option series, which of course is a topic that we'll save for future references. Yes. They actually decided to actually give the crossbow some bite, to where it basically came down to, okay, which do you want? Do you want the the ability to punch through armor and do more damage, or do you want to be able to fire more arrows? And both of them have their drawbacks and their advantages. The crossbow got, basically what they did is they increased the damage on the crossbow by 1 die. It was basically, was it two heavy crossbows, like 1 to 8 plus 1 and 1 to 10 plus 1, which is pretty scary considering that you could basically kill a normal human being easily with a crossbow.
Right.
But not only that, they decide to also give the crossbow the ability to basically punch through armor. Basically using a crossbow at short range, the target you're up against, if he's in armor, gets a +5 armor class penalty because of the armor penetration from the actual bolts.
Now, did you get this? I mean, what am I saying? Did they increase the range on the crossbow?
Yes, they did.
They did.
They increased it to where it's comparable to a longbow. I'm going back to the weapons list just to confirm that, but it's basically a heavy crossbow range-wise is pretty comparable to a longbow. As a matter of fact, it's almost dead even if I'm looking at it right. Yeah, okay. The heavy crossbow does have a better range, but only slightly. And but it, like I said, it comes back down to better damage, armor penetration versus being able to fire more arrows.
Right.
And
looking in the first printing of the second edition player's handbook, with the one with what I like to call the blue book that has all the artwork in blue. The heavy crossbow short range is 8, medium range is 16, and long range is 24.
Right.
Well, the longbow is 7, 14, 21.
Correct.
So it's still better ranged. But I do agree that when the second edition came out and they did the crossbow listing in the weapons, I scoffed. I was like, this is ridiculous. And no one takes it due to the fact that on a large creature, your heavy crossbow, your heavy quarrel is only doing the same amount of damage as a short sword.
Right.
Yeah.
And, for stopping power, that's what the crossbow, it stopped. Historically, it had a lot more punch than just 6 damage.
You know what I always liked was the hand crossbow.
Yes.
I thought that was a nice little holdout weapon.
I agree. The only problem is that, the only thing
D3 damage and D2 damage.
Which isn't a lot, but the good thing about it is that you could do all kinds of interesting things with the actual bolts themselves. Like, that's
poison.
Like one of the main weapons of the Drow is, hand crossbows with sleep poison bolts. Because they want to take you as slaves and so forth. So, but yeah, I mean, and not only that, they're fairly expensive to make. So it's not like you can start a character off with like 2 hand crossbows and a couple bandoliers with bolts in them and so forth.
No, you just have two. You just have 2 wands. I won't get back into that again.
I'm looking through the arms. I'm looking through the arms and equipment guide right now, and I'm looking at crossbow, light and heavy. It has something interesting. It says bows cannot be used underwater, but crossbows can. Because of the tension, the way it overcomes the water resistance. So you find like Locanth, Mermen, Tritons using crossbows.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
One of the things that I found that I've done in my campaigns to entice people to actually use crossbows in my group, there are magical bolts that they have called stone biters and wood biters, I think they are. And you mentioned the blue Raja earlier, with the blade kit. Having somebody with a repeating crossbow with stone biters, easiest way to climb a wall, make your own ladder. You know, exactly. It's one of the things that I found useful in enticing my players. Dude, pick up a crossbow. No, man, they suck. I'd rather have a bow.
Yeah, unfortunately it's taken several years in the second edition rule set before crossbows kind of got their due and made them formidable weapons in their own right.
I'll bet most of the people who don't want to use crossbows are elves.
Well, that makes sense.
Bow envy.
Yep.
Bow envy.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, from a historical historical point of view, as in, if you had the two items in your hand, the crossbow is significantly easier to learn how to use.
True.
Yep.
Now, if you, I mean, this is the kind of thing, that we do in the LARPing and the stuff is, we've actually used them both, and, a real bow is a bitch to learn how to aim. Pardon my. But a crossbow, you may not be able to aim it real great, but you can at least shoot it without taking your knuckles off most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And, which is an advantage. That's pretty much an advantage.
I agree. I mean, there was a weapon shop in my neighborhood back in the day, and I used to just go in there and hang out and kind of, look at the guns and whatnot. Then all of a sudden, he got in this crossbow, and I was, I was just enthralled by it because I'm just like, you know what? Because of course I'm doing D&D comparisons in my head, of course, and I'm just like hefting it, and I'm like, of course I couldn't actually pull it to actually cock it because the pull was like, oh god, I think it was like 60 pounds or something like that. I'd have to set it on the floor and just pull the thing down. I mean, it didn't have like the lever that you could just draw it back.
Crank.
Yes.
Crank.
Yes. And I was just like, this is cool.
That's why the heavy ones came with a stirrup where you put your foot.
Right.
There.
Right. And then they had double crank on either side, and you just had to but hey, that's the reason why you couldn't you could only fire it once every other round because set it down, crank it, get the
it's almost as bad as a black powder weapon.
Mm-hmm.
Historically known originally as a crank wind, and then later on a windlass. Just so you guys know.
Absolutely. Oh, there I go again. That's 4. Damn it.
Now we're keeping score. Okay.
I am because
one of the other advantages of a crossbow is that you can keep it strung at all times. In a bow, you don't walk around with it strung all the time. No. So there's a certain amount of prep time. It's like, oh, we're going into battle. Okay, quick, gotta notch my bow back.
Yeah. Put the line in.
Yeah. And so meanwhile, the person with the crossbow is already shot off, 16 times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's because that was one of the things when they would tell you about if you specialize in the crossbow. That goes back to first edition, actually. They said if you have the crossbow loaded and the bolt on it, and you got surprised, you got to shoot somebody before anybody else in the entire encounter could react.
Right.
And that's a pretty heavy advantage, when it comes down to it.
I assume they have some kind of safeties, like maybe a leather loop or something. So you're not walking around with a loaded crossbow or a hand crossbow. Oh,
no,
sorry.
No, it happens. There was no safety.
The ones that we made, and ours were very simplistic, obviously, but I know I could actually make a crossbow and could probably figure out how to make it fairly functional, as opposed to the ones we were doing. They were you could notch the string back, and it didn't go until you pulled the trigger. I mean, it could go, by accident, but in general, they were actually pretty set for that.
Okay.
Can I ask a question, Julie? And don't take this the wrong way. Did you guys actually use Nerf crossbows?
No, we actually made them out of wood and metal. They were made out of actual stuff. Oh yeah,
you guys were serious.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
I could also probably admit that we were probably doing it before Nerf crossbows came out.
Ah, okay.
Cool beans. So you've had characters with crossbows before.
I've used them myself personally as characters in a game.
Okay.
I use them. Yeah.
Okay, good.
I mean, the majority of characters that I have, unfortunately, it's something of a stereotype, I guess, but just like elves have longbows, most dwarves have, at the very least, light crossbows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see a whole line front.
And then we can also get into the Oriental Adventures repeating crossbow.
Oh yeah, yeah. I have a couple characters that have those.
Ouch, ouch. That's a big ouch. Good thing to go against giants with. Yeah. Anyway, crossbows. Let us know how you use them and abuse them. THACOshammer@gmail.com and 405
806-0555.
Thank you, sir. And now we will go into our final segment, which is DM's Rag.
Well, that's quite a story.
I think it would be fun to run a newspaper.
And here it comes, right over the old plate.
The DM's Rag.
DM's Rag. Okay, dungeon number 41. Yes, I picked this one.
Obviously.
Old Man Catan and the Incredible Edible Dancing Mushroom Band. Now, this is one of those adventures you're going to like it or you hate it.
Wait, Glenn, can you repeat the title again for those listening?
Okay, it's Old Man Catan and the Incredible Edible Dancing Mushroom Band.
Greatest title of an adventure ever.
Yes, it's dungeon number 41, and it's got a lot of humor in it, which is why, it's situational humor, which is why, people who take D&D way too seriously are going to go, what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
So, it is about a swamp and an old man who is, it's basically about the whole swamp, too.
Yeah, it's about the swamp.
I mean, there's this funny old man in a shack, and he's got these talking, singing mushrooms. I mean, he's got stuff like the old man sings off key, so the mushrooms sing off key. But they're doing it for a reason, and it's like the underlying story is an ecology that's messed up.
It's a completely functional story. That's the weird part.
I mean, all this weird stuff happens. I mean, he hates the mushrooms that sing off key at him all the time, but they're doing it for a reason. Basically to save his butt. Because the backstory is 200 years ago there was a battle or a war against orcs and men, and this one soldier had a potion of growth on him and he got killed. Well, he fell right into one of the pools there in the swamp, and after so many hundreds of years, the stopper wore out or something like that. There's a hole, it spilled into the swamp, this one area of the swamp where mosquitoes breed. And between the swamp water and the potion, it made whatever the effect was permanent. So you got these giant mosquitoes now.
Oh.
And there's a bog monster in the swamp who has like the intelligence of a 4-year-old who, he sees these giant mosquitoes and he figured out he can control them. So he's having him chase all the animals. Well, he's chased all the ecology out of the swamp, except for him and the mosquitoes. So the old man can't fish. The campestri, which are these singing mushrooms, they know about this stuff, and they sing off key basically to annoy him. When he gets annoyed, he lights these god-awful cigars he makes, which is a repellent for the mosquitoes. So it's like, it's funny, but everything seems to work out logically, which is what I liked.
Yeah, it's kind of twisted, but yeah, it works.
Yeah, there's something behind this. And the players walk in and, like I said, if you don't have the right kind of players, this thing is you're going to be grabbing your plan B real fast. Either they're going to walk away or kill the old man or something like that. And that's not what this is about. Even though there is encounters in here and there is fighting, but that's not the point of the encounter. The role playing is the point.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first part is when the PCs show up in the swamp, the old man automatically thinks that an old enemy sent them to kill him.
Yeah, because he already took care of some assassins, sent him in the swamp to die, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the whole thing is that the old man is so hostile. This is where basically either the adventure it all depends on the players. The adventure can end right here, or maybe somebody actually tries to talk to the old man and figure out why he's acting the way he is.
Right.
And once if the PCs actually talk to him and kind of just settle him down just a little bit and convince him that they're not assassins to kill him, and they're in, the adventure can proceed from there, and the PCs have more opportunities to do other things, not just pull their weapons and say, oh, I'll show you, old man, and just hack him to bits.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot.
And then they go, well, how much experience do we get for killing the old fart?
You can get a lot of experience out of this module if you play your cards right.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, the big bog monster, the big bad,
mm-hmm.
you don't want to kill him.
No,
it's really
there
don't.
For a reason.
It's there for a reason.
Right.
I might just spill the beans right here, but I don't know if I should. Because then the players are going, oh, we know this is going to happen, so we'll just make friends of it. No. You play the damn thing, okay? I'm not going to tell you. Yeah. So.
No spoiler alert tonight.
Let's see. It would be better if you do not kill him and talk to him. Let's just say that.
It's a nature thing.
Yeah, it's a nature thing. You ever see the comic book Swamp Thing? Think about Swamp Thing as Rain Man. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, that's the best thing.
I'm not doing it. I'm muting my mic because just in case I start doing the Rain Man thing.
Okay.
Is this like Forest Swamp?
No. Yeah, could be. Yes, but he thinks the giant mosquitoes just his playthings.
All these mosquitoes, they're all they do what they say and do what I say. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get it. I'm
okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. They're excellent flyers. I
don't know where all the animals went. They all ran away, I think.
Yeah.
I'd have to admit I like the Catan swamp lore. One of them particularly gives the bog the name of Glitchy Gummy.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Which is a corruption of the old Elvish phrase Glitara Kernogai Garumi, which loosely translated means a soggy place where only stupid people would live because the air reeks almost as badly as an unwashed dwarf. I found that.
And it has nothing to do with Gitchy Gumi, of course.
It doesn't. It's awesome.
No. So if you got some good role players who have a sense of humor, you can really get a lot out of this one.
I was actually particularly impressed by the fact that there's even a bit in there where it's, he asks you to look for his cat.
Yeah.
And it says, award the players X amount of extra experience if they actually role play calling for the cat.
Yes. Kitty. And the cat might even end up helping the players.
Mm-hmm.
Leading them to the right place.
Because cats always do handy things.
Oh, yeah. Okay, here's an example of an encounter that just links right into the story. At one point, the old man's on a dock, getting ready to go somewhere, and this giant alligator attacks for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a swamp.
Well, yeah, but usually alligators aren't that aggressive. But you notice the thing's kind of skinny because the mosquitoes drove away all his food.
Mm-hmm.
And he was desperate.
Yep.
Not only that, but he took one of those little mushroom campestries and ate it.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, it's like, he's going like this. And
those kind of mushrooms.
Yeah, because, once a day they shoot spores that act like a slow spell.
Julie, they're small, 2-foot-tall singing mushrooms, and you don't think they're magic? Yes, they're those kind of mushrooms.
Super Show while growing up. I watched HR Puff and stuff.
I still want to know what kind of drugs those guys were on when they came up with 90% of their stuff.
Yeah,
it must have been some high quality stuff.
Well, these campestri are kind of neat because they said the only reason they sing bad is because the old man sings bad. They said give the bard if there's a bard in the party and he can teach them how to sing on key, and even if they can get him to dance, like say in a chorus line, he's gonna give him like 300 to 400 extra eep for that.
Yeah.
Now the writer of this scenario has been scarred by Fantasia, hasn't he?
I guess so. Yeah.
Well, better that than lifting from directly from Alice in Wonderland. Oops, let me stop that. Let me stop right there. I will stop that right there. I'll stop that thought right there.
In addition to the other things for DMs, there is a Monster Compendium entry page in the back for the Campestry.
Yes.
There's a rather Disney-looking picture of one smiling like he's taking a high school photo. But other than that
picture, I like that picture.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that is Disney-esque.
It's a very unique type of monster, but without the singing portion, I could see using these in other campaigns as well.
Because they're very mischievous too.
Yes.
I mean, they were stealing his clothes and stuff, and basically said they just
they like bad jokes. They like bad practical jokes.
Mm-hmm.
That's. Oh, mushrooms took my homework.
It's almost like a leprechaun or a quickling had a bad drunken night in the swamp and had some love with some mushroom, and they make campestries.
Once again, I could go my whole life without that image.
Oh, I'll never forget that night.
I don't know where you were, but you won first prize.
The Scotsman.
I knew you'd like that one. And right now, I'm trying to get. This was written by. Hello.
Yes.
Thank you. No, trying to get.
It was written by Ted James Thomas Zivich.
That's right. Ted James Thomas Zivich. Have no idea what he's all about. I'll have to ask Bad Mike about that.
He also credits his two cats, Roman and Stuart, as well.
It's always nice when somebody includes the cats.
Always blame the cats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
mine's snoring right now. It's hilarious.
What kind of rating are we going to give this? I'm going to give it a 4.
Okay.
In my hands, I could make it sing.
I'm sure you could. I have absolutely no doubt about that.
But if I get a table full of Wolverine type loners, I'd put it away.
Yeah. This is one of those where you have to know the temperament of your players and the characters they're running. Yeah, because like I said, this could end in 5 seconds, or if somebody's got something on the ball, then they could walk out
the best
with a lot of experience points.
I'll give it 3 mushrooms out of 5.
Okay. Hitting the shrooms early, are we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'll give it 3.5. The humor is pretty. The humor is pretty good. The cover picture of the mushrooms, some of them singing along with the old man, and the others stealing his clothes. It's just
tub, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why 3, Corey?
It's a good adventure. It's an average adventure. It doesn't jump out and grab me like it does you. But it's not a bad adventure. It's not my first choice, but it's average. It's got a lot going for it, but it's not a
world beater.
No, it's not a bring all comers kind of campaign. Like you said throughout this review, if you have the wrong group, it can make this a very short adventure.
Yeah.
And to me,
or a very tedious one.
And to me, that means some DMs might have a group that will say, yes, this is exactly the type of adventure we want. Other groups are going to go, this is dumb. We want to fight dragons, Mm-hmm. So like I said, it's a 3. It's average. It's good. It's not bad.
How about you, Julie?
I'd give it a 4, maybe even a 4.5. I tend to run with groups who are very role-playing oriented. So something that gives role-playing options, is very popular. As opposed to, a group of Wolverines, like you said. But, this is something where if you've got a group that's all together, even if they are all butch Wolverines or something, you throw them into something like this after a long run of really, grueling stuff, it'd be a nice relaxation. It's a nice break.
Yes,
but
it is.
It's not so goofy that it won't fit into a campaign, and that's part of what I liked. It is goofy, but you can play down some of the goofiness, and the goofiness is all actually tied in. It's not goofy for the sake of being goofy.
Yeah, it's not like bad puns and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I know how gamers run. and game designers. And one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning was this is an intro adventure. This is for levels 1 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, you should read in
good.
the intro. You should read in the intro on the.
Oh yes.
Because I could hear your voice doing the.
Oh God.
What, my voice?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have to do the intro, Glenn, for that one section here.
I don't have it up with.
All right, let me pull it right up a second here, folks. You got to have Glenn do this because it would just make it.
I'll just sit there and go. We know a farm down in Lincolnshire.
No, it sounds like an infomercial. Campaign got you down. Flame getting a little too grim. Feeling the need for a laugh with a bite. Old Man Catan and the Incredible Edible Dancing Mushroom Band is a lighthearted AD&D adventure for 4 to 6 PCs of level 1 to 6.
Mm-hmm. Buy it now.
Well, yeah, and where did this appear?
Dragon number 41.
Dungeon number.
And how?
Dungeon number 41.
Oops.
Whoops.
From 1993, I think it said.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we're firmly into 2nd edition right there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, this is when it was really starting to hit its stride.
Yeah. And actually, Old Man Catan is actually on the cover with the mushrooms and the alligator on the cover.
Yep. Yeah, just walking through the forest like Karen.
I should ask you, Corey, what'd you think of the art?
I like the art. It's humorous. It fits the campaign, and for a lighthearted intro level, humorous campaign, I think the art is awesome.
Did the maps work for you?
The maps were okay. The maps were almost an afterthought for it, but to me, it's how it felt. But it's not Jeff Easley's work.
No.
Or Errol Otis's, but
it's Jim Holloway. What are you talking about? I love
it. Was good.
Good. And also, once again, this is for levels 1 to 6, and it's a great place you can come back to. Mm-hmm. You visit the whole swamp area. They got encounters there. They got a will-o-wisp there if you want to fool out one of those. And some kind of death tree and all this other stuff. You just, you can go to town with that. And, he'd be a good NPC to hang on to if you can make friends with him.
He's a cantankerous old cuss. It may not be so easy.
But you also remember, if you read his background, he was a ranger. And he still has his ranger skills.
Mm-hmm.
So he could help out sometimes. Maybe eventually you're stuck and you're passing through. Oh, let's go ask Old Man Catan about this. Maybe he knows something about this.
Yeah. Keep him. Just get him. Use him as just a little font of information, and he'll probably be willing if the threat of the mosquitoes is removed.
Yeah, exactly. And even the bog monster might help if you make friends with him. But and also if you're like, you're coming back from a battle and you're hurt, he might have a poultice or two that he can keep you, going until you can get some attention or something. Or maybe if you poach.
Nothing else, he probably knows some
mushroom. Here, drink this.
Do you think to survive in that swamp? You'd have to have like an, I don't know, iron beaver?
Maybe.
Wow.
But it itches all the time.
And on that note,
I think we come to the end of the show.
He gives you a potion. He says, "No, I don't make it out of the mushrooms. I just catch it when they're on the 5th floor."
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Say goodnight, Corey.
Good night, everyone.
Brian?
I'm at a loss for words.
Well, can you try goodbye?
Yeah. Goodbye.
Okay, and our lovely Julie, who is cracking us all up.
Pleasant dreams.
And I'm DM Glenn, and I'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.
Good night, everyone.
Watch that film.
THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find him on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. Also, you'll find us on the second edition forum at dragonsfoot.org, or you can give us a call and leave a message at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.